Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got the tank review for the brand new Independent Alliance Era 1 Premium Heavy Tank, the Thrungva. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong, have no idea how to say it. It's going to be called the Thrungva. It is what it is. If you do like the video, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe down below, as it really does help out the channel. And yes, the Thrungva. It is basically the Kranvang from Tier 10 in World War II, but in Era 1 as an Independent Alliance Heavy Tank. And the changes that they've made to this vehicle to bring it over to Cold War make this tank absolutely immense. It is insanely good in Era 1. Why? Because its mobility is absolutely amazing. It's as good as most of the, in fact, it's probably better than most of the mediums, to be fair, in terms of its mobility. Its turret armor is still as nigh on impenetrable as it is in World War II. Its hull armor's not the easiest to bounce anything off. It will get penned quite easily on its hull armor. But the strength of this vehicle is 12 degrees of gun depression and going hull down and delivering the 3-shot clip. And even then, because the reload is so quick, you just don't spend much time out of the game whatsoever. You can be super duper aggressive and just smash the enemy with this vehicle. Like I say, it is incredible. It makes amazing silver. It's just absolutely incredible. That's the only word I can put for it. I think it's one of the best. Out of the 4 new tanks, this is the best one for me, personally. This is the best tank out of the lot. It is incredible. I'm going to keep using the word incredible because that's what it is. Probably a little bit too good, if we're quite honest, because it absolutely smashes. The only downside is that you have a wait period because it is a 3-shot autoloader, so you have a 20-second period where you're out of shells. But 20 seconds goes by very, very quickly, and then you're fully loaded again, and you just get smashing. And that's what this Kranvang, well, the Thrungva, does. So, let's get into the statistics of the Thrungva. So, as you can see, we've got a 60 km/h top speed with a 22 km/h reverse speed, 810 horsepower engine is 19.29 horsepower per ton ratio, and a 15% internal fire chance. So, you're in the middle of the fire chances. I've not really been set on fire in this vehicle that much. The power to weight is fantastic. It really helps you get to that 60 km/h top speed. The one thing that is mightily different on the Thrungva compared to the World War II Kranvang is the fact that the ground resistances mean absolutely nothing to this tank, just like every other tank in Cold War. So that means that you absolutely power to 60 really easily, and if you run the traction system of the powertrain like I do, you hit 69 pretty much instantly. It's great. The mobility is incredible. Like I say, that's the thing. For me, I think the thing that makes this tank really bonkers is the fact that it is so fast. It is impenetrable when it's hauled down. The gun slaps. And people will really struggle to deal with you unless they just YOLO you. It's just one of those things. But these ground resistances don't hold the tank back whatsoever. You hit 60 easily. If you run powertrain and traction system, you will hit 69 giggity easily. And you've got 36 degrees a second on the hull rotation speed, so it does turn pretty quickly on its tracks, which is okay. 445 metres of view range is decent enough for Era 1 to be able to spot for yourself. You've got 26 degrees a second on the turret rotation speed, which is a little bit slow compared to the hull traverse. So you might want to help that out with the rapid aim perk, because, like I said, the turret traverse is a little bit slow. You've got 0.81 accuracy during rotation with a 4.68 accuracy during movement. So the accuracy during movement is atrocious. Accuracy during rotation isn't too bad. With all the crew skills and the equipment, you can get that low enough that it's not too bad. You do have a 2.3 second aim time as well, which means it does take a wee bit to aim in, but to be honest, most of the time when you're firing with this thing, you're going to be in people's faces. Because you're going to be in people's faces, you're going to be hull down, dropping this 3-shot clip. As you're going to see from my gameplay, pretty much that's the way I play it. And they're super duper aggressive in this vehicle, and it pays off for it to do it. You've got 0.39 accuracy at 100 metres as well, which you will feel. You will feel that if you fire at distance, because the gun does feel derpy. It does. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. If you're firing at distance, this 12cm gun does feel derpy, just like the standard Kranvang in World War II. You've got 12 degrees of gun depression, which, like I say, is incredible. Makes you absolutely massively flexible on the ridgeline, and just, yeah, you are an incredible hull-down brawler in this vehicle. With a 27.8 second reload, that's 2.2k DPM, nearly 2.3k DPM, but like I say, it is an autoloader. You don't pay attention to DPM in an autoloader, as it's all about the burst damage, which you do have 3 shots with a 3-second intraclip. So it's not the fastest intraclip reload in the universe, and it takes 6 seconds from firing the first shell to unload the clip. You got 252 penetration on the standard APCR, with 300 penetration on the premium heat round, and 60mm of penetration on the HE, which you're probably never really going to take because you're only going to take the heat and the APCR in case you start to run out of ammo, and it doesn't cause you that problem. You got 1,000 meters a second shell velocity on the standard APCR, which is on the average line for shell velocity, which means you do have to give a decent amount of lead to hit your targets, and especially at distances that you can be firing at sometimes in Cold War, so be careful of that. And 840 meters a second shell velocity is a bit poor for the heat rounds, so you have to give a lot of lead to hit those heat at distance, and even quite close sometimes. You have to give a decent amount of lead with those rounds. But 252 is pretty much enough to pen everything you're going to face in Era 1, and you got 300 pen in case you struggle with an IS-4 every now and then. You don't really struggle to pen things in this tank unless your gun does derp and hits the wrong part of a tank, essentially. And you've got 160% silver bonus, which means this tank makes big bucks. It makes amazing silver, and because of the potential of it to have massive games, you will make a lot of silver, and it is very, very good for that. So let's have a quick look at the modules for this vehicle. So as you can see, you've got the engine block there in the Thrungva. So if you get shot in that back end, it will damage the engine. You've got to be careful of getting set on fire in that regard as well. That's where the ammo racks sit in the Thrungva. So the back of the turret, if you shoot it in that little bustle at the back of the oscillating turret, you are likely to damage or even blow its ammo rack. And that's where it sits in the hull as well, which means that if people do pen you in the hull in that lower plate, it is quite likely to get its ammo rack damaged. And that's where the crew sits in the Thrungva as well. And in terms of the armour, like I say, the armour on this vehicle is 225 on that turret. So when you're using your gun depression, because of that sloping, the turret is nigh on impenetrable. Occasionally, you might get the odd shot that does pen it, because just why not? And they might catch that turret ring. But for the most part, that turret is just absolutely incredible on the Thrungva. The upper plate, well, the lower plate is 115mm, and the upper plate is 90mm, and as it is a pike nose, if it's facing you, it's at its strongest, but it's still not that good. But the more it's like that, the more you want to be shooting it in that section there. And in terms of the side armour, you do have 70mm of side armour, so you can side scrape in the Thrungva, which is pretty nice for it, as that means that you can be brawling in a city, side scrape, bounce a shot, and then deliver this 3-shot clip. You can do that if you want to. So what do I run in terms of a crew and equipment? Well, in terms of the equipment, I run food because it boosts my reload and everything about the tank. I run the traction system to get that extra top speed. And then I run the powertrain to get the extra top speed and the extra little bit of oomph in the engine, which really helps you with your mobility. And the gun stabilizer to make sure that the accuracy during rotation and movement gets as low as possible, because that is an important statistic to make really low, as that affects how big your aim circle blooms out when you move and turn the tank. And as the accuracy during movement is really poor, helping that out as much as possible will really help you in the long run with getting your shots off quicker. And then in terms of a crew, I have gone and stuck it in the STB1, so let's go fetch Mr. James T. Kirk and get him into the Thrungva. And in terms of a crew, I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Steady Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun, Clutch Braking, Rapid Aim, and Track Mechanic. Pretty standard MBT crew in Cold War, as all 3 gun perks really help the gun out and makes it really usable in terms of functionality for the tank. And then the clutch braking and the rapid aim to make the track traverse better and the turret traverse better. And especially since the turret traverse is a bit slow and is slower than the tracks, it is nice to help it with that. And if the turret being way slower than the tracks, because we have to help the track traverse out with clutch braking and with the traction system, you might want to drop clutch braking, run something like Deadeye to increase the chance of doing module damage with your shots. You could run plenty of other things like supply conservation to get your food back quicker, maybe firefighting or fire prevention to put out fires if you do get set on fire, although I haven't really been set on fire, so I wouldn't do that. Or armour angling to reduce the amount of damage coming into the tank. It's really up to you and how you want to set out the vehicle as to how you feel comfortable playing it. That's just how I like to do it, to try and help everything about the vehicle. So let's get into the statistics of the Thrungva while it's fully kitted out. So as you can see, we've got a 69.3 km/h top speed with a 25.41 km/h reverse speed, an 850 horsepower engine with 20.25 horsepower per ton ratio, which means you fly up to 69 km/h pretty damn easily. It is an exceptionally mobile heavy tank, and you can be super aggressive getting to those ridge lines. You got 43.16 degrees a second on the hull rotation speed, which is really quick, and especially since we've helped that with clutch braking and with the traction system. We've got 483 meters of view range, which is good enough to spot for ourselves quite easily in this tank, with a 31.62 degrees a second turret rotation speed, which is a lot quicker than it was, but it's still way slower than the hull, so be careful of that in the Thrungva. You got 0.44 accuracy during rotation, which is really good. We've got that to a really good level. With 3.08 accuracy during movement, that is still not that good. and means that as soon as you move the tank, your accuracy, or should I say your aim circle, will bloom out quite large. We've got 0.32 accuracy at 100 meters, which is not too bad. Again, for a lot of the tanks in Cold War, they're getting way below the 0.28 mark, so it's still derpy for Cold War terms, but it's not too bad. 2.12 second aim time as well means it does aim in that little bit faster. We've just not really helped that out that much, but some of the general crew skills do help it. With the 22.53 second reload, it means you're not sitting around twiddling your thumbs too much, and especially when you boost with food, you tend to get it down to about 20 point something seconds, which is really, really quick. And most of the time, by the time you've reloaded the clip, your food's back anyway, so you get the chance to be able to boost again. And that's the thing that's great about the Thrungva. In the fast-paced environment that is Era 1, you're never really sitting out the fight too long. And it's something that the TVP 50/51, which is one of the other autoloaders in Era 1, does suffer from at times, that sometimes the games go a little bit too quick and it really does struggle to keep up. This thing doesn't. This thing just is spearheading the attack. That's just the way it goes. But yeah, that's the statistics of the Thrungva with it fully kitted out with the crew. Like I say, this tank is absolutely fantastic. It really, really is. It's such a great tank. It's a good pickup, which is why I say you want to... Well, which is why I picked Freya to get the discount for this vehicle. So when I unlock the discount, I will be buying it because, yeah, it is such a solid tank to play in Era 1. Makes big bucks silver, and it's pretty easy to play because, yeah, go hull down and laugh, and that's the way that the Thrungva acts. But what I'm going to do now is send you into the replays where you can watch this tank in action, see how it handles, and just see if this tank's a bit of you or not. So as always, everybody, I'll see you in the replays. Here we are in the replays with the Thrungva, and we're on this map, which is Great Wall. And on Great Wall, what I'm going to do in the Thrungva is push to the position at GH4, that little area there, go hull down, and then try and deliver my clip where I can. And that's something that we're going to be able to do in the Thrungva quite easily. Because as you can see, compared to, if you've played the Kranvagn at tier 10, you know what it's like. It's really slow and sluggish to its top speed. It'll get there eventually, but it is sluggish. This tank, no, not at all. As you can see, travelling quite easily at 69 kilometers an hour, no problem whatsoever. You can be so aggressive with this tank, and because you're reloaded so quick and you dump the clip so quick, because that's what it feels like to do the kind of damage you do, because you've got a 1290 damage clip, you dish that out very, very quickly. You actually do the job of the TVP 50/51, but way better in this tank as well. This tank is just flat out better than the TVP because it's pretty much quicker. Gun isn't quite as good in terms of accuracy, but it pushes out damage way faster, and it's basically impenetrable when hull down. So, yeah. So, Mr. T-54, first victim of the day. Hello, we put one shot in, 2 shots into his lower plate, set him on fire, he's burning out. I may be able to kill him with another shot now. Sadly, though, we actually low roll, which means we didn't quite hit him hard enough to be able to finish him off with our third shell. But we're just going to boost our food with reload? Yes, we're going to boost our food with reload. Oh yeah. No, we're going to boost our reload with food. And then, just like that, we are reloaded and ready to go. So we track and pen the T-54, so he's pinned in place. Second shot in for 411, and then we go for the third shot for 409. We didn't... There was some low rolls. I would like my rolls back, please, game. I have 430 alpha, I'll have you know. Whew. But 10 seconds to go, just like that. We are nearly reloaded and ready to dish out another clip of punishment. 'Cause this is what the Thrungva does. It goes, I'm hull down, there's nothing you can do about it. And 1, and a 2. And we've got 1 left for Mr. IS4M, who is going to become a one-shot now. So you know what? Okay, we're just going to use my mobility to evade the people down below, get up behind the IS4, and finish him off. 3 tanks in 1 clip. We didn't get to finish him off, though. Look how close we were. We hit him. It flashed yellow. We were like, yes! No, the T95E3 high-rolled and got him. Thanks, game. So, we're up to 2.8k damage with 2 kills. Mr. Charioteer is doing things. He's doing things as we secure our 3rd kill of this game. Now we've got the M103A. Hello, Mr. M103A. We get the track and pen into that guy's drive wheel there, just so that he wasn't going to be able to come around the corner and get after us while we're reloading. But once again, we've boosted our reload with food, which you want to do every available opportunity. I know I might take one hit from him, but the thing is I can clip him out. So we're just going to get around the M103A1, try and get the gun back on target because the turret traverse is slow, get one into the back of his turret, two into the side of his turret, and he gets finished off by the T95E3, meaning there's only 2 tanks left on the enemy team. It is a medium tank and a light tank down at EF0. And in fact, they are absolutely surrounded. So the Tyran 4 gets shut down by the 4005. And it just means that there's just the light tank left. But again, look at the mobility of this vehicle. You absolutely send it so easily in this tank. Just how fast it is. And to be this fast, to have the ability to just dump the clip so well is just absolutely crazy in the Thrungva. It really is. Finished with the epic victory in that first game. We'll finish 3rd on the team with 3 kills, 4.6, nearly 4.7k damage. The second class for 1343 base XP, which was the second class. It's a fairly average game, technically, for the Thrungva there. And I mean, realistically for me, that's actually below average in terms of the games. I've played about 13, 14 games in it so far, and I'm averaging about 5.5k. So it's actually technically below average, but I'd say it's probably the more average-y game that you're going to have, where you get in, dump your clip, stay hull down, dump your clip again, and you can just keep rolling like that. Naturally, you can get hit by a 4005, and that will end your day very quickly. Unless it hits your turret front, because it can't pen you in the front of the turret. But if you turn your turret ever so slightly to the side, it can. So be very, very careful of that in your Thrungva. So, this second map, we're here on Himmelsdorf. And on Himmelsdorf, I've come to this position here, straight at the top of the hill, at G0. I saw a tank come up, which I thought was a TVP, but no one else crested the ridge. So my brain went, there's no one else here. They've not bothered. They should be here by now. Forgetting the fact that I am also extremely quick. So hello, Mr. Skoda T50. It's not a TVP, it's a Skoda. We get the ramming speed in, finish him off with a shot, and we've got 1 shot left, which I instantly go for the reload. And I never really hang about with the reload on this tank. So if I have 1 shell left and I feel like I'm not going to get the chance to fire it, I will instantly go for a reload so that I'm ready to go for the next time. So we're nearly loaded, 3 seconds left, and you know, Sod's Law means this guy is going to get around this corner, right? Yep, absolutely 100%. We go for the shot on the Type 61, it goes low. The shot on the T95E3 doesn't quite get him. 3rd shot out finally does hit him. A little bit of bad aim, a little bit of bad gun handling. That's what it can be like with the Kranvang and the Thrungva, I should say, at distance. I'm going to always keep calling it the Kranvang, because it basically is a Kranvang, but in Era 1. But with stat differences that make it way better, to be fair. So we're just waiting on the reload now for the Thrungva, and we're in a great position here, because I can go and expose only my turret and then dish out this 3-shot clip. So we get 1 shot into the side of the T95E3. I was really hoping to track and pen him there. The STB-1 just goes, I will YOLO now. And we finish him off because he rams himself into me. We're up to 2.5k damage, and well, Mr. STB-1, you have given me the perfect corpse to hide behind. Because these guys will only be able to see my side, which they'll bounce off of, because I can side scrape. And I can just use my turret to sit there and go, well, you can't pen me now. So, good luck, you know? So we go for that shot into the side of the T95E3. It tracks and pens, so I think maybe I can do it again. No, obviously not. But we get another shot into his lower plate. And now we can just go back to hiding behind the STB-1 and waiting for our reload in case they do overextend. So we noticed their team's pushing hard down the Banana Road. We've really got to start pressuring this E3 and the M103 to get rid of them if we can, because we're starting to get to a point, you know, where we're just stuck. So the M103 gets shut down by the T44. We go for the cupola shot on the E3. Hopefully can finish him off with now a shot into his lower plate, but sadly, the 268 says, I shall now ram it! It means we can't get a shot into him, not even going to risk it, and we put the shot into the IS-3, and tracking him in place as well means we will get some assistance damage if our people farm him, which is always, always lovely. We're up to 4.2k damage with 625 assistance. I'm just going to scan the train tracks to make sure there's nothing looking at us from over there that we can't see, like a 4005 or something like that. I'm not even sure that there was a 4005 left alive, but you never know, there could be. We wait for the NM116 to make the turn, and, oh, gun handling there, just letting us down a little bit. I think it was shell velocity more than gun handling, letting us down a little bit as it ends up just not quite getting to target before that NM116 gets around the corner. So we see 3 tanks coming up the hill at the 9 line, so what we're going to do is just full send, because that's what Thrungva does, and Thrungva can do that very, very easily. So The T95E3 gets shut down by our teammate. There is a 4005 in this game, and it's right there. And we're just going to full send through the smoke. Hello, Mr. 4005. RBRT onto him, and then we missed. Of course we missed. Trying to get the tracking shot in. It doesn't track, but we do get a pen, and we're up to 4.7k damage, or 625 assistance damage. And there's only 2 tanks left. There's the Object 165 and the other Thrungva in the position at B8, pressuring our heavy tank. But this is where the Thrungva's great, because they're over there, right? They're halfway across the map, although it is a small map. We've got the mobility. We have the mobility to just get going. And we can get there before a lot of our team can, because we have that amazing mobility on this tank. So, we're going to get ourselves into the position to try and get that 165, but in fact, we are going to get our opposition, Thrungva. Hello, Mr. Thrungva. We put 1 shot in. I know he's not going to kill me, because I can kill him. I've got 2 shots left. And we finish him off there with the 2nd shot in our clip. And we finish the game with 3 kills, 5.5k damage, 625 assistance. Top of the team. And we made 200,000 silver as well, which is lovely. That's without a booster. If you're running boosters, you're going to be making a lot of silver with this tank. 1493 base XP. We're top of the team there on Himmelsdorf. And that's the Thrungva. That game is the Thrungva in a nutshell. Just keep delivering. Again, same as the previous game. Keep delivering the clips. Keep yourself in a position where you can be hulled down or hide your hull armor. And you will be having such a great time with this vehicle, because it does dish out damage so fast. And because of the mobility of the vehicle, you get to aggressive positions also incredibly quickly. And yeah, you can just get some stupid damage numbers in this vehicle. So we're on the 3rd replay, and the 3rd replay is here on Mountain Pass. And on Mountain Pass, we are going to try and see if we can get shots across the way. We see a tank. We don't know what it was. Jagdpanzer 4.5. We saw the Jagdpanzer 4.5 that was down the little road at C2. And we put 2 shots into him without him being spotted. We're up to 884 damage with the first clip of the game, which is always delightful. So I'm watching the enemy team. Now, we've only got 2 people at F7, but they've got a lot of people across the bridge. So I'm fully expecting, especially with that IS-4 the way he's moving there, them to full send across. So now we're loaded. We go for the shot. It goes into the IS-4M. I'm just going to keep my eye on the bridge, because once one goes, they all go. And there we go. Missed it. I was about to say perfect clip. But you had to go and miss Thrungva, didn't you? Thanks for proving me wrong. Of course it did. Awkward thing. So we're up to 1735 damage. They pushed aggressively along the bridge. We've got someone who's holding off that corner, but we can't do anything at this point in time because we're reloading. We've got 2 heavy tanks that are at H6 and G7. But we're in a position where we can attack the people like this STB1. So we got 1 shot in. It tracked. 2nd shot went underneath. 3rd shot penned. That is the Thrungva gun. It can be like that. It really, really can. In the shots that look like they should hit, just don't. They just don't. And you sit there going, oh. And like I said, that is probably the one only downside to this vehicle. Apart from the hull armor not being the best. But you can side scrape, so it's not the worst, realistically. But yeah, it's the one true downside to this tank is that the gun handling is so hit and miss that you can't rely on it when you're firing at distance. When you're firing up close and personal, it doesn't really struggle because, well, distance isn't really a... You know, the accuracy isn't really a problem when it's up close and personal. But that's the thing with the Thrungva. You can quite happily be in people's face because you have that amazing mobility to get into people's faces really easily. And also, once you've got into dodge and delivered your 3-shot clip, you can get out of dodge supremely quickly also, which is great for it. But as you can see, we're poked through the smoke. We've got a shot into the medium tank that was around the corner, 2 shots into the T95E3, and I was really hoping the WZ-111 that popped smoke would actually stay and just hold the corner, but unfortunately, he's just full sent into all of the enemy tanks, and that's not good. We don't need to be in this position anymore. I'm watching the T-34 going, can he hold that corner? No, he's not going to hold that corner. There's too many of them here. We need to just get out of dodge. This is where you've got to use your mobility in your tank, and you've got to use your head at times and think, I could just hold this position and try and be boneheaded about it and just be stubborn and stay here and stay and die. Or I could use my mobility, get myself to a safer position where I can help the team in a different way without losing my tank. Because obviously keeping your gun in the game is a key asset to winning games. So if you stay in a position where you're just going to struggle to hold and die, You don't want to do that. So we've fallen back to a position, like I say, that is better for my tank. I can now go hull down, use the 12 degrees of gun depression and have a great time. Sadly, through the T-34, that means he dies. But we've also got the Skoda T-50 that's with us that could help too. So we've caught the IS-4M out. 3 shots in. Good night, Mr. Eastern Alliance Era 1 heavy tank. The Char-25T is coming in. I'm thinking, well, I've got help, right? No, the medium tank's across the way. And I'm looking going, wait a minute. Mr. Skoda T-50, help me, sir. I need help. Or actually, no I don't, because Thrungva is reloaded, pretty much already. And that's what it's like. We don't wait around very long for this tank to reload. So we put 1 shot in, 2 shots, good night Mr. Char-25T, there is no escaping this. And we get our 3rd kill of this game, up to 6,600 damage with 277 assistance. The STB-1 that's around this corner is dead, which means that there's only the T-95E3 left on this flank. So we're going to use our mobility to get around this rock. And by doing that, I actually tempted that T-95E3 out of his little hidey hole and into a position where he could be killed by my Jagdpanzer IV-5, which we'll take. So that's 6,651 damage so far with 3 kills, 277 assistance, and we know where the last 3 tanks are. They're all across this way, so we're going to use the mobility once again. As you can see, 69 kilometers. It's mad to see this tank traveling so fast. 69 kilometers an hour, we can get straight over. There's the 4005, so we put a shot into his turret, a second one into his turret, and then we can find the 3rd shot in, put him down to a 1 shot, hopefully for our teammates, who he's really charging down this Jagdpanzer IV-5. But there we go. He ends up running himself to death on the Jagdpanzer IV-5, and there's just the 2 heavy tanks left. Now, I was thinking I could go down the road, down the 1 line, and I could get behind them. But the thing is, that Thrungva is just as quick as I am. So I'm expecting him to run straight along the J line. So what we're going to do is go cut him off. Cut him off so that we can get our clip in and finish him off, because he is clippable. But the Jagdpanzer IV-5 goes in and shuts down the M103A1, and I was kind of expecting the Thrungva to appear right now. But sadly for me, the Thrungva actually turned back, and he got finished off by the Jagdpanzer IV-5, but we still finished the game with the victory. 3 kills, 7.9k damage, 277 assistance, high caliber, the 1st class, with that 1607 base XP. Really great game there for the Thrungva on Mountain Pass. Again, it just showing you the capability of this vehicle when you go put it in the situations it wants to be. And even when it's in a situation where it's under pressure, like we ended up being kind of at the end there, it's still pretty damn amazing to play, just because you have so many strengths. Like I say, that's the thing with this vehicle. It doesn't really have any weaknesses. It has the one weakness in the fact that the gun can be derpy, but if you play it the right way, you're not really at range where the derpiness can affect you. And the hull armour isn't the best, but you can side scrape well enough, so you're not pure paper. But then, to add to that, it's not like your turret's paper, because you can just go hull down, use 12 degrees gun depression, and bounce every shot known to man, because, yeah, you can. Goes a bit downhill when, you know, a 4005 decides to fire Hesh at you, because, well, the Hesh won't pen you. It will still splash you for a considerable amount, so be careful of that. But you can bounce the AP rounds of 4005s quite reliably. So we're on this map in the final batch of the replays of the video. We are on this map, which is Azure Coast. On Azure Coast, we've come straight to the train tracks? No. We've come straight to the beach. Where did I get train tracks from? Okay, we're on the beach, where there's imaginary train tracks. And we managed to get a shot into this light tank, who loses a little bit of hit points. At this point, I'm watching this light tank going, "Sir, are we okay?" No, I don't really think you're going to be anymore. Get out the game. Thank you very much. We're up to 1,674 damage. We've got 1 shell left in the clip. I know there's a load of people spotted along the way, so we're just going to poke back over with our turret and put a shot straight through that IS-4M, who takes a large chunk of hit points away from him with the 4005. And this is where I'm just going to sit here going, IS-4M, there is nothing you can do about me. I sit here, you bounce. He fires premium, he bounces. He can't pen me. So I'm quite happy to just sit here, if I'm honest. So we're now loaded. We're going to try and get a shot into this M103A1's turret. And just as we pull the trigger. Sod's Law! Sod's Law, that's what that is. I could have seen that coming a mile off, if I'm honest, but yeah, it is what it is. Probably mostly our fault there, because we could see that Type 61 was going to do that again. We're up to 2.1k damage, and you can see, again, I don't wait around for my reload. There is no waiting around for the reload. As soon as we are able to, we just reload, get a full clip in, because then we're ready to go for the action that goes on ahead of us. The M103 goes around the corner, and we've got a full clip loaded for him. So we're waiting to make sure that we don't make the same mistake we made a second ago, where we hit our teammate, shot into the side, shot into the lower plate, hopefully track and pen in this time, which we do. 375, massive low rolls. This guy must be running armor angling. This is where armor angling and advanced armor are a bit rubbish, because I assume they're running armor angling or advanced armor to reduce the amount of damage I'm doing to them, but I have absolutely no idea. It could just be RNG going, Huskaroo, oh you, which is highly likely, because RNG dislikes most of us. RNG is a cruel mistress, you know. So we've shut down the M103A1, looking to maybe get the IS-4M, but we've got the other IS-4M side on, so I'm going to be a bit stupid, and that is just drive out, get 2 shots into the IS-4M, and take a big hit from the 268. And that's us making a mistake, because we should have paid attention to what was going off on our right. We should have known that we were going to take a hit there. There was a TD spotted there. That could have been much worse. That could have been a 4005 for all we know. So that was a big mistake, but we got away from it. Take the rough with the smooth. We got away with it. We're up to 4.4k damage, and I want to put pressure on this medium tank that's around the corner. I'm not going to get shots into the IS-4M. I'm just double-checking I'm not going to be able to be shot by the 268. And hello, Mr. M50 Sherman. We finish him off with 2 shells. Got 1 left for the T95E3, and that is extremely fortunate that that hits the T95E3, as that wasn't the most well-aimed, but we'll take it. We're up to 5.5k damage, and once we're reloaded, once again, we will be after the medium tank that is around the corner. I can't get shots at that 268. The T95E3's run away, so I want to get rid of the tank that could be behind me as I then pressure what's left on the enemy team. So we see the T44A. It's hello there, sir, ramming speed! Give him a little bit of ram and then finish him off. Now, by the way, for some of the medium tanks and the more lightly armoured vehicles, you could set this thing up to ram quite easily. You could meme ram quite easily in this vehicle against some of the more lighter medium tanks and tank destroyers and light tanks. And that's because you do get some mad speed in this vehicle, and you're decently heavy. So you can do some good ramming damage. It can be good for that. And naturally, if you're running controlled impact and small liner, you will be reducing the amount of damage you're taking from ramming. And then dishing out a bit more. So, you know, meme value is there. Meme value is there, and we like it when meme value is there. So sadly, the first 2 shots on the 268 missed, but the third shot went straight into his side, so lovely stuff. We're up to 6.8k damage with 4 kills, and I see my chance. We're waiting on the reload. You know what? Forget the 268 and the IS-4M. The T95E3's just fired. Full speed, ramming speed, bang! 400 damage. We only lost a little bit of HP there, to be fair. He puts us down to a possible 1 shot for the IS-4M, but you know what? Good night, Mr. IS-4M. And we secure 2 kills in the blink of an eye, put us on to 8.1k damage with 440 assistance. We get the 6th kill of the game. And yeah, we did what, about 450 odd damage to that T95E3, and that's not a light medium tank. 450 odd damage to him, and we only took about 100 to 200 damage, which is where I say if you kit it out for ramming, it could be quite decent, you know. But with that ram, that also put us in a position to be able to shut down both of them, which is what we were aiming for. And we weren't really aiming to take a hit from the T95E3, because that did make it a bit of squeaky bum time, but it is what it is, and we got what we wanted. So I'm just going to sit in front of this IS-4M and just see if he'll give me a shot. If he doesn't give me a shot, oh well, because he's going to be being fired at by a light tank. There's a TD coming up behind him as well. If he shoots me, he could give me block damage, which could help me with getting my challenge done. But he doesn't even bother to shoot. And the 4005 finishes off the IS-4M. And we'll finish the game with a really great total again, with the victory, 6 kills, 8.1k damage, the 266,000 silver, the ace tank of the Top Gun, the high caliber, with the 1833 base XP. A really great game there for the Thrungva, which is, like I say, an absolutely immense Era 1 premium tank. Makes absolutely incredible silver, and it is just insanely good. It really is. And for me personally, it is the best out of the 4 tanks that you could purchase if you wanted to. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
a great success.